Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Soso, and welcome back to another Fight Rewind episode. Today, we're previewing Devin Haney versus Vitaly Lomachenko this weekend. And you know I can't break down any of the big fights without bringing on our best guest when it comes to boxing, Victor Bermudez. What's up, my brother? Oh, I have you on mute. My bad, dog. Sorry.
Tranquilo.
How you doing, my man?
Good, man. Good. Getting ready for this weekend's fight, man. Should be a good one. Definitely a lot to decide in that 135 weight class, especially now with what Gervonta did a few weeks ago. Ryan Garcia moving up. It's one of the most exciting weight classes in the sport of boxing, and that's in large part credit to what Devin Haney has been able to do and everything he's been able to accomplish in his short and young career. Devin Haney has proven himself to be a legitimate threat at 135, maybe even 140 the day that he decides to go that route. But he is a bona fide, I believe, star in this sport.
I mean, when you have the pedigree that he has, right? A kid who decided to go pro instead of sticking to the Olympic route. He's had to overcome a lot, right? And really learn the fight game, not only as a sport, right, inside the boxing ring, but also the business of it, right? The training that it takes, the type of understanding of the game and understanding your opponent. You know, I was listening to him earlier where he mentioned that him fighting in Mexico as a pro really helped him get established as a pro. So then when he came out here in the U.S., he was able to fight whoever, whenever, and really stay on top of that. When you talk about this dude and how he was able to become the undisputed champion, right, beating George Kambosos Jr. twice in Australia, how impressive is that for you, man?
It's huge, and it's what you just mentioned, the fact that he started off his career in Mexico, started off turning pro at 15 years of age. That's Canelo-type Alvarez things like right. That is impressive. And the fact that, let's be honest, you're an African-American fighter, you're in Mexico, making your pro debut. I've been down there, man. I've produced numerous fights in Mexico. When you're an out-of-towner and you go to Mexico as a professional fight, a colored fighter at that,
going against a Mexican,
there's a reason why he has to start his career 2-0 with 2 knockouts, and then you see the third fight, unanimous decision. But even then, one referee doesn't give him every single round. So, look, the way he decided to start his career in Mexico, 4 fights straight right off the bat in Mexico. 9 out of his 29 fights have been in Mexico. 11 outside of the United States, with 2 of those being in Australia to face George Kambosos. This guy's a proven fighter that it's so cliche in this sport and in the fight game. Anywhere, anytime, any place. Devin Haney is the epitome of that cliche. Willing to do it, whether it is turning pro, as we mentioned, at 15 years of age in Mexico, whether it's having to go to Australia to become the unified, the undisputed lightweight champion, to do it again, to sign up and say, you know what, if the rematch is in your place again and I have to go out there again, I will do so, and I will beat you as soundly as I did the first time around, if not worse. Kudos to Devin Haney. I think the beginning of his career prepared him for these types of things, for the challenges that no one, and let's be honest, no one really thought of Devin Haney as a legitimate threat here. People looked at Shakur Stevenson. People looked at, obviously, Tank Davis for numerous reasons. Ryan Garcia was on everybody's tongue, and rightfully so because of what he was accomplishing. But right. To me, because Devin Haney took the route of not the let's go to the U.S. Olympics, let's fight for the United States of America, let's try to capture a gold medal for the first time since '96, and that wasn't the route he decided to take. He sort of like fell to the back of the line and among most of the experts, most of the critics, most of the fan base. But Devin Haney, to his credit, man, has been able to do it by just that, doing things not the conventional way, going up against the grain, turning pro early. His father, the trainer, he was on the pivot just recently, and Channing Crowder doing some research reached out to me because he knows I like to keep up on the fight game stuff. And I told him the fact that his dad, he's doing it with his dad, that is not something that works. Roy Jones Jr. had to separate from his father. Sugar Shane Mosley had to separate from his father. Felixito Trinidad, his father threw in the towel against Bernard Hopkins because there's that, and he's going up against someone who's trained by his father, in Vasily Lomachenko. So it's going to be great to see, and not surprised at all with the route that Devin Haney has taken and how well prepared he is for this, because he's been preparing for it. So let's be honest, this is his pro debut.
Yeah, for sure. And you're talking about when you talk about what makes him the best in this division is things like that, right? And it also comes with being proven at a young age and being a champion. Won his first title in 2018, right? And then ever since then, it's been title after title, big belt after big belt, until he got to that point where he can become the undisputed lightweight champion. And you know this better than anybody. It's extremely hard to become an undisputed champion in boxing. This is not a team sport where you're going to have help. You have to go out there and challenge yourself every single time and put yourself against the best of the best at that moment in order to be able to acquire all those belts. Now he's facing a guy in Lomachenko who he called out 3 years ago, and he really wanted that fight. And that was when Lomachenko was probably the best boxer in boxing, right? Number one on the pound for pound list, undisputed champ. He suffers that loss against Teofimo Lopez, never bounces, kind of throws off the plan to face a guy like Devin Haney off the tracks, but Devin Haney had to go that hard route, and that's probably what made him the best. I wanted to ask you, because he's so young, 24 years old, a guy who's, again, leading the pack of a division that's full of killers, right? What is his biggest weapon against a guy like Lomachenko, who's a veteran champion in his own right?
If you want me to get crafty with it, it's what he's best known for, that jab. That jab that just keeps people at bay, and his reach advantage is and that's if you want me to get technical and go X's and O's.
I like that.
In the sport of boxing. For me personally, I think it's going to be his youth. You're talking about what is it, a 9-year or 11-year age difference and gap. I think Vasily Lomachenko, I don't want to say he's done, but and I know the way this is going to sound because, my favorite fighter of all time, Roy Jones Jr., had him at the top pound-for-pound list before he even turned pro, because that's how good he was.
An amazing
I'm just one of those guys that I need to see it to believe it, and you need to fight in the States and prove it to me. And, yeah, Vasily did that, and I followed his amateur career, like the greatest amateur boxer of all time. Yep. Bar none. You can't even dispute that. We saw what he did to Rigondeaux, and maybe back in the day you could have said Guillermo Rigondeaux is just as accomplished in the amateur background with his gold medals, and surely I was rooting for Guillermo in that fight, being Cuban. But Vasily Lomachenko put that to rest.
Yeah.
But getting back to your point, the advantage in this fight is the fact that he's got the youth, he's got the speed. As weird as that may sound with Lomachenko, because he's so crafty. But it's just that I don't know, and I've spoken to numerous people about this. I don't know if that long amateur pedigree did him any favors. I think in hindsight, it shortened his career, because we're talking about a Lomachenko that's 17-2 when Devin Haney is 29-0 at just 24 years of age.
Wow.
So if he would have turned pro a little sooner, maybe his career would have been a little longer, and who knows what he could have accomplished in the sport of boxing. So I think age on Saturday night will play a huge difference. The speed of Devin Haney, to me, that's what will separate the two come Saturday night. But keep an eye on that jab. It's one of the best in the sport of boxing, and it is stiff and consistent, and he does not deviate from his game plan, and he will jab until he finds his landing spot. But it all starts with the jab for Devin Haney.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that, man, because if you look at his last 6 fights, all have been unanimous decisions, but he's never really been in trouble in any of them. Probably the most trouble he's ever gotten into in his career was when Linares really touched him and kind of wobbled him, right? Yeah. Other than that, he's shown his ability to go all 12 rounds, piece up his opponent while still not suffering any type of damage that can cost him rounds and or the fight. Such an experienced fighter at a young age, man, is a big weapon. And you're right, his youth is definitely gonna be a factor, a major factor, right? Because maybe Lomachenko doesn't have the same power. But when we look at Lomachenko, 11 of his victories have come from knockouts, right? Where he's finished dudes badly and forced the corner to stop guys, right? Like what he did to Comey. for a guy like Lomachenko, who's a legend in his own right, right? Multiple Olympic gold medalist, undisputed champ at one time, pound for pound #1. He's riding a 3-fight win streak, 2 unanimous decision and 1 technical knockout over Nakatani, who's actually fighting on the undercard that night as well. What gives him the edge here, right? Is it just experience, or is he still able to put that pop behind his punches to stop a guy like Devin Haney?
I wouldn't go the route of experience. Obviously, he does have that at the amateur level. At the pro level, he doesn't possess that. If there is a reason to give advantage to Lomachenko, is the fact that he's able to find his way through that jab, that he's able to fight inside, that he's able to give you so many different looks. If his footwork is not there, it's going to be a long night for Lomachenko. But footwork and the craftiness of the way he's able to slip punches and fight from all different angles, a Manny Pacquiao type esque, the way he's able to throw punches from numerous angles, and the way he's able to get inside of guys, and then use his craftiness inside the ring, cut off rings, willing to fight on the ropes and the corners. That's never an issue for him. So it's going to be the savviness, the craftiness that he has and possesses inside that ring. For another cliche I can throw at you is that ring generalship that he possesses.
He has that. It's a real thing.
He does. It really is a real thing with Lomachenko, and it's the sweet science. It's really beautiful to watch when he is performing at his best. And he will go down as one of the all-time greats. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer in my book because of what he did at the amateur background, what he was able to accomplish at the pro level. But it's a new wave of boxing, and I know how it may sound, and to discredit Lomachenko and just to write him off. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, in my opinion, if I'm putting my money, if I'm putting something down in Vegas, I'm putting it on Haney. I'm putting it on the youth. I'm putting it on the jab. I'm putting it on the 29-0, on the experience, on the fact that he's fought in hostile territories, debuted in Mexico, has fought 9 times over there, has gone to Australia, has done it inside of a stadium when no one was
watching,
rooting for him or wanted his best interest, into a country where his father didn't arrive until Friday night because they had issues with visas and tried to present every possible advantage or disadvantage rather to the Devin Haney camp. It's a guy that's proven time and time again. I'm one that says he doesn't have much punching power, but this is a guy that, with that said, has the knockout of the year just a few years ago. So he can catch you with the right one, and if he does, he'll hurt you. And as he said, no one that has ever faced Devin Haney or is looking to face Devin Haney has ever said he's a soft puncher. So if there is an advantage for Lomachenko, it would be, as I said, ring generalship, the way he can control the ring in and out, punches from different looks, and the way he's able to maneuver around that ring. But the age might prevent that, and the fact that every time he goes somewhere there might be a jab right in his face might prevent that as well. Everybody, Mike Tyson said it best, Stephen. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, and
it's the truest thing ever.
And this game, I'll remind the audience, just because, again, I'm a geek and a nerd when it comes to this sport, and I love it immensely. There's only one boxer in the entire history of the sport that has gone in a single round without being hit once, and that's Roy Jones Jr., the greatest light heavyweight of all time, against Vinny Paciencia. And no one else has done it. So expect Lomachenko to get hit often and many times by Devin Haney in that jab.
I wonder if that's part of the motivating factor for him, right? To know that he kind of lost the belt in a weak way to Teofimo Lopez, who didn't even really defend it properly, right? He really did.
Don't get me started on that.
I know how you feel about him.
Don't get me started on that.
But
it's a soft spot.
Yeah, I know. My point being is, like, he sees his lose belts, right? And then he's like, damn, this sucker's not even taking care of my belts. I should be able to go get that. I think that's a motivating factor for him to know that if he were to beat a guy like Devin Haney, right, it would really project him back into that spotlight where he's like, damn, we overlooked this guy. He's still one of the best in this division, and all these kids got to go through him in order to make sure that they're really, tried and tested, because he is that good. I think that that may be a motivating factor to allow him to be prepared for the war, because it's like you said, Devin Haney is an amazing boxer. He really hits with good combinations. He's very precise with his punching, so he's not wasting punches, right, where he's just throwing 100 punches per round to hit 20, 30. A very efficient boxer, but I feel like some of his expertise or motivation should be like, I can take guys into the deep waters and go into the deep rounds and possibly punish them there and take the knockout that way. Do you think that's a real good strategy for him?
It's hard to tell with Lomachenko. I'm not sure what his strategy. Only him and his father will know that. I definitely do agree. I think he had the wrong strategy against Teofimo Lopez. I thought he came out and expected a war with Teofimo Lopez just because of the trash talker that Teofimo and his father are, and that's not what they encountered at all. Teofimo Lopez actually boxed for the first portion of the majority of that fight,
right.
Especially the beginning of the fight, and then found himself later in the fight in a toe-to-toe with Teofimo. He was able to score that late knockdown, but at that point it was too late. Teofimo had done enough damage, so I'm not sure what the game plan with Devin Haney will be. They're aware. From numerous interviews that we've seen, they're clearly aware of what Devin Haney's best punch is, and it's that jab, and they're trying to avoid it. Recently this week, I heard him say that everybody knew what the game plan against Ryan Garcia would be, and it's avoid that left hook, and against Devin Haney is avoid the jab. So it's easier said than done, but that's the game plan I assume would be avoiding that jab and a lot of head movement, a lot of side to side, what he does best. But one thing is having a plan, and another thing is going in there and executing it against a guy that's much younger than you, against a guy that's proven, and against a guy that's right now currently could be the best in the division, among the top pound for pound guys, and clearly undisputed champion of the world. So it's easier said than done, and it's easy to predict the game plan from here behind the camera. But once you get in that ring, it's totally different when you're facing a guy like Devin Haney.
True. Well, we broke it down for these people, so there's only one thing left to ask you as far as this fight goes. Who do you like to win the fight, and a quick why? And would it be more likely a knockdown, knockout, or unanimous decision? I'm
going to go with Devin Haney. Majority decision.
Okay.
I'll go with Devin Haney. I think he'll do enough work and control the ring and make Lomachenko look his age, make Lomachenko like he's near the hanging it up and putting those gloves away, because Devin Haney is a future, and there's a lot of fights to be made with Devin Haney. We're talking about a guy who's willing to take on all comers, whether it be the Ryan Garcia of the world, the Shakur Stevenson, the Gervonta Davis, whoever it may be. Devin Haney wants to prove that he's among the best in the sport of boxing, and not just a one division champ, but that he's looking to be among the all-time greats. Him and his father are. So I'm going to go with Devin Haney. I think he'll be able to find that jab. It's, again, one of the prettiest ones. I can't speak enough about it. It's stiff. It's consistent. It's going to be there all night long. So I like the speed, the youth, and the jab to not overthrow him, because he's already been overthrown, but pretty much say adios, Lomachenko.
Yeah, and cement himself as like you said, the best in that division or in that range, where everybody who wants to make a mega fight has to go fight a guy who's willing to make the mega fight and not be afraid to put his O on the line. Do you see any knockdowns? Quick yes or no?
Look, if Devin Haney takes him lightly, we saw what Linares did, and if that fight where Linares is if that round with Linares is 10, 15 seconds longer, we may not be having this conversation.
True.
I feel strongly about that. The way he was rocked, the way he walks right back to his corner and is on wobbled legs, the way he comes out the following round and has to hold a bit to find his legs underneath him. I wouldn't be shocked if there is one.
Okay.
But
so that's a yes.
I think he's crafty enough. I think Devin Haney's crafty enough and has learned enough from that knockdown to never put himself in that situation again. But it is Lomachenko. We are talking about one of the all-time greats and one of the greatest amateur fighters. And I know I'm trying to give you, like, I'm not really. I'll say no. I'll say Lomachenko will not be able to score that knockdown against Devin Haney, because I don't want to be that guy who just
I don't think so either, because Lomachenko is going to be the one coming forward, so that gives a lot of opportunities to Haney to catch him with a counter, and not necessarily like completely shake him or completely knock him out, but enough to be like, boom, I caught you on the button and you took a quick knee, you know what I mean, or something like that. I can see that happening.
In order to score a knockdown, you're going to have to fight on the inside with Devin Haney. That is, you're going to have to fight on the inside. You're going to have to cut off the ring. And I just don't see how he's going to be able to do that with the reach that Devin Haney possesses. And again, that jab is going to be straight out there and it's going to be consistent. So you're going to have to come underneath that, over it, or around it. And again, that's way easier said than done on taking on Devin Haney.
Absolutely. You know, one of the opponents that I mentioned earlier, that Lomachenko fight, Masayoshi Nakatani, he's fighting tonight on that card as well. Super flyweight title. Do you think that that's the second best fight on the card, or are you more excited to see a guy like Nico Ali Walsh in his ninth pro debut fight?
I'm excited for Nico, and I had to. It took a while for me to come around, because like everyone else, you're thinking, look at this guy, the grandfather, sure, buddy, yeah. Like, how really close were you to?
What type of Ali are you? You know?
Yeah, but having spent some time with him in Vegas, speaking to him on numerous times. Educated man, goes to UNLV. I'm not sure if he's graduated yet or not, but he's proven himself, man. You got to have courage, and you got to have something wrong with you up there to get in the ring and want to get hit, especially when you're an educated man and come from that background that you don't necessarily have to step in the ring and get punched in the face quite a few times. So I'm excited to see him continue his career and hopefully stay undefeated, because it's a great story. It's a great story for boxing. I think it's a great story for the legacy of Muhammad Ali and what he's able to do. So I'm most intrigued by that one, to be honest with you.
Nice, man. And the reason why I ask is because I know you've seen so many amateurs, right? Whether it's in the local circuit down here in Miami, or even fighting on the, prelims to the undercard. Yeah. You've seen a bunch of guys go from that amateur status, go into that pro level, and then start to get into that rhythm of being a pro boxer. And for a guy like Nico, he's coming with a lot of baggage, and sometimes that's hard to carry. And I feel like if you say that he's carried it well, then I take your word for it, man, because he's impressed every time he's been on the national stage.
That's exactly it. You hit it right on the head. The fact that every outing is a little better than the last one, and that's all you could hope for. It's just like in any other sport. You go from your rookie year, and then you hope that second year you get a little better, third year, fifth, fourth. Same thing. And Nico has done that. Nico has shown you that much. And the fact, again, that it's not easy to step in the ring. I don't care what you may think. It's a totally different, and the lights keep getting brighter, and he keeps delivering. So it's this is until he gets beat, just like the same thing with Logan Paul. Until he got beat, there wasn't any reason to not believe the hype or believe what he was doing. And Nico, with a much better I guess family and what he not necessarily that his family is better than Paul's. That's not what I meant, but exactly that just those are the words, the boxing background from Nico Walsh and what he comes with. But I know Jake and Logan had dedicated themselves with training in Puerto Rico. I'm not trying to say they take it lightly, but it's different what Nico has been able to carry with him. Right. And it's impressive to see. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's able to do on Saturday night if he's able to continue this.
Me too, man. Big fight for him, fighting on inside the MGM Grand on a major card like this one, bringing lots of eyes to him. It's gonna be great to see how he performs, man. It's gonna be great. I can't wait to watch the fights, dog. Hit you up on the side text, you know how we do, and just get your thoughts about the fights, man. I appreciate you joining us here, man, on Sports with Soso, Vic.
Anytime, my man. Anytime. You know the digits, and you say when, and I'm here, my man.
My dog. I appreciate you, my brother. That's why Vic is the man. You got to make sure you're following him on Instagram, Vic Bermudez. He does amazing work with NBC Universal, and he's just a man when it comes to boxing. I said it. He's a boxing encyclopedia, living and breathing. But it's this time where you got to be able to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. Let everybody know to subscribe to the podcast, hit the notifications so you guys know when we're dropping amazing episodes like this one. Until next time, peace.